Welcome to Table Tennis Philosophy. Today we're going to talk about footwork and probably put a little different spin on it than you've heard before. And first off, I want to say that you can't underestimate the importance of having good footwork in table tennis. To put it in a nutshell, it's much easier to make a strong shot, a well-placed shot, a quality shot if you're in the right position to do so. A lot of players feel like if they got their racket on the ball in any manner that they were in a good position to make the shot, and that's far from true. And what you'll find is that players with problems with their footwork tend to come into two varieties. One where they move too much or move to the wrong place, and those that don't move at all. Let's first address the ones that don't really want to move at all. Problem being is that when you're first learning, you probably don't know exactly where you should move. I mean, you can do footwork drills all day away from the table. That's not the same as getting that footwork right when you're at the table. That's where multi-ball comes in, and you can start training yourself to get in the right position as much as possible and as often as you can. But unfortunately, a lot of people that are self-taught, haven't had a lot of training, don't have footwork skills, maybe from other sports, sort of take on the attitude of, I'll move my feet if I have to. And that's exactly the wrong idea. You should be thinking mentally, assuming that you're going to have to move your feet. And that in itself will at least put you in the right frame of mind. But of course, like I said, the other extreme is moving too much and moving in the wrong way. I've seen this a lot of times where players are actually very, very mobile and able to get to balls you wouldn't think they would be able to get to, but sometimes they take a strange path to get there. And playing balls behind them that they could have played in front, reacting too slowly. There's a lot of things that can mess up your footwork, even if your basic footwork is correct. For playing close to the table, you want to start off with the right stance, wide stance, further apart than your shoulders, bent knees, slightly lean forward. Find a balanced stance that will allow you to move left, right, forward, backward easily, and stay balanced. A lot of players never quite find that balance, and will be standing much too straight. And if you think about it, if you just stand up and put your feet close together and then try to move quickly with your feet together, you'll see how inefficient it is. And which brings us to what would probably be an ideal way to look at your table tennis as far as your footwork goes, and that's to move efficiently. Now, if you're a close to the table attacker, you're going to need to get into a really perfect position as often as possible and be looking to get into an attacking position, which is a little bit more work and a little bit more demanding than standing just a step further back, not far enough that you have to cover a whole lot more territory, and looping. One of the things people don't realize about looping is if you loop the ball up and get some real arc on the ball, it actually gives you more time to react. If you hit everything flat and then the ball comes back flat at you, you're going to be dealing with some very fast shots returning at you. On the other hand, players that loop get a split second more just by putting the ball a little bit higher. So you want to think about moving efficiently for your style. And one of the things you noticed if you've ever watched much of Jan-Ove Waldner playing, and I know I'm going back away, but still one of the best players, if not the best that ever played. Sometimes he didn't appear to be moving a whole lot. I think he had when asked about it, he had the quote about it, he didn't have to move because he knew where the ball was coming. And there's a couple thoughts on that. You can make up a little bit for less footwork with good hand skills. Ideally, you want both, but I mean, there's players that can't move because of injury. There's players that are not going to move well because of their age or even be in a wheelchair. So obviously there's ways to play without having, running all over the place and moving quite as much as some of the modern players do. Which brings you kind of to my own personal philosophy on footwork. I would say this goes for players that play close to the table primarily, and this is where you have to go back to that, assume you're going to have to move, even if you don't. And a little bit of footwork, a step in the right direction of the ball is far better than none at all. You can't just be rooted in one place, and I see that with some of the older players that come in. And it's not their fault. It's not sometimes that they physically can't move, it's they don't know, they haven't played enough to know where and when to move. That's where drills and match experience come into play. You start moving much more efficiently. So even though my footwork is not particularly fast, I probably don't get down as low as I need to, I am moving my feet, and quite often it's just a step to the left, a step to the right, keep a wide stance as much as possible, and make my footwork efficient. So that's a little different perspective on footwork than you're probably hearing from most people, but it gives you something to work with. If your footwork is bad, if you think that's a problem with your game, it's a reason that you're not playing well, you might think of all those possibilities of things I said. If you're playing close to the table, you don't want to cross your feet over, you don't want to get turned in the wrong direction, you want to keep the game in front of you. If you back off from the table, you're going to have to cover more space, and if you're physically not able to do that, or if you're not able to make shots back from the table, you probably don't want to back off too far. So, hope you enjoyed that. I've been getting some great comments from people, and I really thank you for them, because they almost inevitably give me some ideas for things that I can talk about on these videos. So I really, really appreciate it. Some very complimentary things. And we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.